I once thought he was my savior, but he said I was his tool. Chapter 7 Iris. I looked at Ozai, who was just staring up at the stars. I pondered on his words. Was I being too judgmental? But how could I not be? I mean, they're the hellhounds. That word alone says enough about them. But then talking with Ozai now, he doesn't seem like a cold-hearted murderer. He seems sad. They all do. All three. I know that ours is a very broken man. And he has done horrible things, I'm sure. But as I remembered the day when I was a little girl, and I didn't see him as a hellhound, I saw him as a wolf, like me, and I believed that he was still good, despite the things he did. I don't know if he could love me. I mean, mates are supposed to run into each other's arms instantly. There is nothing instant between me and ours. He is matey her, the mating pole does not affect him. But then tonight, when I sang to him, I saw a side of him that I didn't know exist. His humanity. Maybe I did know was there. Maybe that was what I saw when I was a little girl. I think that he has had to harden himself to cope. In a way, it's fair enough. He has had to endure so much. He has had to do horrible things to try and free himself. I guess that's what made me realize. The hellhounds still desire to be good, to have a good and light soul because they are still fighting for it. Them committing horrible deeds as their ticket to be free of their darkness. That was their goodness. That's of ours I saw tonight. And for the first time, I had hope for them. They still scared me, of course. But I guess not as much now that I understand them. I touched Ozai's arm and felt him tense. I smiled softly. Thank you, Ozai, for talking to me. Ozai returns the smile. Well, more of a smooth grin. You're welcome, little Iris. I've always enjoyed our talks. I stand up to go inside. I took a step, but realized I couldn't see where I was going. I blinked a couple of times and tried to see through the darkness, but all there was more darkness. I felt my heart plummet. I was blind again. I stood there still. Disappointment was a cheap word in describing how I felt at that moment. I felt my eyes well up with tears. Finally getting to see was an amazing experience. But it being ripped away from me in an instant is so heart-wrenching. In a quivering voice I said, Ozai, see, can you please guide me back to my room? I was stuttering again. I stutter a lot when I get too emotional. And right now, I felt hollow. I heard Ozai stand and walk towards me. He sighs as he gently holds my hand and wraps it around his arm as he slowly guides me back to the castle. My throat burns from holding in my sobs. I kept gulping and taking deep breaths. Once he had taken me to my room, I quietly and quickly thanked him and rushed inside, slamming the door shut. I crawl on my bed and under the covers. I hold the pillow tight to my face as I cried. I loved seeing colors. And now I am back to this. To the darkness. I couldn't see anything. And I hate it. I want to see so bad. I wanted to look at ours again, but I couldn't. I wanted to see his eyes, but I could see. I sent Ozai outside to watch her. I didn't want anything to happen to her while I was gone. I sat on my bed and watched them talk from the window. I was shocked when I heard her singing. She sounded just like Lucy, just like Lillian, all in one. It took me off guard. I did not expect such a voice to come out of her. It made me fall into a trance. If it was true, and this was the last time, then I need to break this curse ASAP. I am done waiting. I need to do something about it now. I need to protect Iris. I need to keep her alive to help break this. I watch Iris get up from her chair, but she stumbles a little. Ozai approaches and helps her. I see her shoulders shake. She's crying. I stand up and growled. I stomp out of my room and down the stairs to one of the lower levels. Just as I see her close her door to Ozai, I walk towards him. I grab him by the collar of his shirt. I pull and slam him against the wall. Why is my mate bloody crying? What did you say? I growled lowly. Ozai was calm as usual. He did not fight. He was the most composed and controlled out of the three of us. He pushes me back firmly and adjusts his shirt. I did nothing wrong. She's blind again. She just wants to be alone, and so I guided her to her room. That's it. I took a step forward. What did you talk about? Ozai shrugs. Nothing important. Just small talk. Ozai kicks off the wall and casually walks off. And I let him. I growled and punched the wall. Sniffling was coming from Iris's door. I walked right in front of the door and laid my ear on it and listened. I could hear her whimpering and crying. A part of me wanted to go and uncomfort my mate, but the other half stopped me. My heart was screaming for hers. I wanted nothing else than to crawl in that bed and comfort her. But I knew better than that. I needed to stick to my plan, or else she would be gone and for good this time. I'm not going to let that happen, Iris. I rolled over in my bed as I felt myself crawl out of my deep slumber. I opened my eyes, but closed them immediately from the sun streaming through the window. I assume. I rubbed them and sat up. I climbed out of bed and into my bathroom. As I blinked, I felt my eyes were still swollen from my crying all night. I got dressed and found my way downstairs. I didn't feel good today. I didn't feel positive. I just felt numb. I finally got to see you last night, but it was taken away from me quickly, too quickly. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I heard Donnie say from a few steps away. I smiled in his direction. Hey, Donnie. I heard him walk to me. He took my hand and wrapped it around his arm. We began to walk when he said, I heard something special happened last night. Yup, and it was taken away just as quickly. I really don't want to talk about it. Donnie patted my hand. That's okay. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm here if you want to talk. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Thank you, Donnie. That's very kind of you. We entered the breakfast room. I heard the clanking of utensils against the dishes as they ate. Donnie sat me down, and by the feel of it, I was next to ours. My usual place. I took a bite of my food, but nothing in me wanted to eat. I rested my fork against my plate and silently sat back against my chair and was playing with my hands. Eat, I heard ours command. I'm not hungry, I said in a soft and low tone. I don't care. Now eat. He was getting irritated. A spark of slight resentment developed. I think I deserve a little bit of sympathy considering what I went through last night. And I don't care. I am not hungry. I snapped at him. I heard him drop his knife and fork. I could feel him lean in and growl. You're my mate. You do as you're told. I turned towards him. Yes, I am your mate. I am glad you're smart enough to realize that. I was a little shocked at how I reacted. I had never really been sassy or snappy before, but being treated like this has brought a different side of me. A side I didn't even know existed until now. Oz growls. Are you deaf as well as blind? No, I growled back. I just need a translator because I don't speak asshole. I heard him scoff. No, I'm not an asshole. You're just a sensitive little girl that takes everything personal. You can't handle when people talk blunt. You just run away and cry because you're weak. I lean in and snarl. You think I am sensitive. You think I can't handle it. I am very sensitive to the fact that you're a complete and utter dick. And I hope you know that being a dick won't make yours any bigger. So stop trying. I heard Oz eat choke in his food. Oz laughs without any humor. Oh, I'm sorry. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Is that what you wanted to hear? He yelled. Well, I am not sorry. He yells back. I am not sorry that I hurt your feelings. I am not sorry that you're never going to see your family again. You want to know why? Because I don't give a damn. I don't care that you're miserable. I don't care that you're blind again. I don't care about you. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You're just a means to ending my curse. You are just an ingredient to my plan. Everyone went silent. The hope that had left for Oz was gone. He truly didn't care. He was a hellhound, through and through. I stood up. Like I said, I'm not hungry. And I walked out of that room. Oz, I saw the hurt when she stood up. I looked down at my plate until she walked out. I didn't want to look. You're doing real well. Oz, S.O.'s Ian said sarcastically. I roll my eyes. Shut up. S.O.'s Ian. S.O.'s Ian scoffed. You better have one hell of an apology to win her back. I didn't care. I needed her to live. I was sick of waiting. I finished my breakfast and went outside. I walked towards the east wing of the castle. I haven't been there for a couple years actually. Not since Lillian. I climbed up the stairs to see the familiar doors. I pushed them open and a wave of memories rolled into my mind. The bed was made. Lillian did it before she died. She was the last one to touch it. I walked around the bed and saw it was slightly wrinkled. I remember she had to go somewhere, but I pulled her back on the bed, creating a couple of wrinkles. I had not touched it since. It made me wonder what it would feel like to hold Iris. I walked out of the room and into her favorite room, the music room. There was a grand piano sitting in the middle of the area. Chandelier was hanging up high, dust settling upon it as well as everything else in the room. The candle stand surrounded the oval room. The roof was painted beautiful colors and designs. In the very middle of it was a glass circle, but the light shined down on the piano in the day. As I stand here, I imagine us dancing to the piano. I had a few tricks up my sleeve. The only perk of the curse is that I can possess a small amount of magic. I would show them off for her. I could only do small tricks, like making designs in the snow, or making a flower bloom, or make a piano play while me and my love would dance. The memory danced in my mind as I stared at the room. I had not been in this room for 100 years. I closed it up, never wanting to see it again. But seeing Iris has only revived my heart. I would find an end to this curse. I promised her that we would be together forever. I intend on keeping that promise. Iris, I was sitting in the library reading. I didn't want to be around the hellhounds or Donnie right now. I wanted my family. I wanted to see my parents, my sister, Leothin, Noah, all of them. I wanted my pack. I felt so alone here. I feel like no one understands me. I leaned against the window and pulled the blanket higher as a tear fell from my eye. I wanted to be with them again. But the thought that I may never see them, let alone talk to them, makes everything worse. I hate Oz for taking me away from my family. It would be different if he cared for me, even loved me. But he doesn't. He is cruel as he is cold. He's a hellhound. He will not budge from his emotional estate. I closed my eyes. I just wanted to escape. I wanted to run away and never return to this forsaken place. A woman with beautiful blonde hair, almost white, with eyes as blue and as clear as the sea. She was sitting outside on the balcony, looking at the clear winter sky. She needed air. Her father was a rich man and he was extravagant ball to welcome the new important men in town. They were powerful men who were interested in my father's whaling business. She never liked what her father did, but she had no say in the matter. She thinks that her father also wanted her to mingle with the men. Most women her age would be married by now. She thinks her father is worried she will never marry, but she did not want to marry for sake of marrying. She wanted to marry when she wanted to, when she found someone worth being with. Are you not cold? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Milburn. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A beautifully deep voice sounded behind her. She turned around and saw the most handsome man she had ever seen. He had black hair slicked back with glowing green eyes. He took a step forward towards me, and she stood still, stunned by his presence. He had an air of dominance and power, and for some reason, she was extremely drawn to this man. She gulped and smiled politely. Oh no, I just needed air. The man made his way towards her and leaned against the railing. Are you not interested in parties? She looked down at her hands and shook her head. No, not very much so. I do not particularly enjoy them. It is more required of me to go, so I do. My mother says, It is for our social status. The man nods his head understandingly. I am not much of a party man myself. I look forward to more on who is attending. He turns from looking out in the openness to me. His stare was so intense and so direct that she had to look away. She looked up at the sky and asked, "So, why has my father invited you?" "Me and my brothers are interested in his whaling business." She then whipped her head around and looked at him wide-eyed. "You're the man my father wanted to talk to." He nods his head. "Yes, but he was busy and I was sick of making small talk with all of the social climbers. Sometimes I just want to talk to someone that's real, that's genuine." She coughed in my hand. "You are not what I expected, sir." "And what did you expect me to be? A power-hungry old man who wanted to have my father's company?" "Not someone like me." She shook her head. "No, you are different. You are not like the men I have met. Believe me, seeing the kind of men you have met, I am probably the only real man you've come in contact with." She frowned at him. "I have met many good men. I have had many opportunities to be with honorable men. Why would you assume you are the only real man I've met?" Her breath hitched when he leans in. His eyes scared her face till they focused on her eyes as he said more quietly, "Because no could love and protect a woman like me. No one would provide better than me. I would make her my queen. I would move heaven and earth for her. That is why. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." She looked into his eyes and saw he was serious. There was no flirtation. He was being genuine. Was he trying to pursue her? "I am a single woman, sir. It is not appropriate for us to talk of such things alone." He steps even closer. He kicks of the ledge and stands to his full height. He was a very tall and broad man. He looks down at her and smirks with a mischievous glint in his eyes. "Yes, you are a single woman. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But I intend on changing that. And for some strange reason, she wanted him too. I do not even know your name," she said breathlessly in a slight daze. The man takes her hand and says, "My name Oz. Oz from the Hounding Brothers Incorporation." And then he presses his lips to her skin. Her heart was hitting her chest hard as she felt the contact. He lets go of her hand and asks, "And you are?" The woman curtsied. "Leela, Sir Leela Rose Dawson. Chapter 8 hours I went to the library to try find one of the spell books. But when I entered the room, the smell of roses were lingering in the air. Iris was here. I walked around the room until I found her sitting next to the window, with a blanket. She was fast asleep with an open book on her lap. I slowly made my way towards her and cautiously sat next to Iris, making sure she doesn't wake. Her face was utterly content. There was no anxiety or fear. Fear of me. I softly brushed a piece of hair off her cheek and gently stroked it with my thumb. She is a gentle snowflake, but with a fiery heart. In her sleep, she turned her face toward my palm. Worry weaved its way to my heart. Word would have spread that the one of the hellhounds have found a mate. I have to make sure that the boys know to protect her at all costs. Through the hundreds of years our wickedness did not come free. There were consequences to our racy tons. We have accumulated a number of enemies. They would do anything to get their hands on my Iris. They will not touch a hair on her head, let alone look at her without me killing them first. Nothing can harm you. I will make sure of it. Iris, I gasped awake with a bad headache. I groaned in pain as I rubbed my eyes. These headaches are getting worse and worse. I sit up and sensed that I was still alone. I stood up and put the books back where they came from. I went to my room, wanting a nice hot shower. That should soothe my mind. I loved how a wave of calmness just floods through my every nerve as I take a shower. It was a place where I could just let loose and relax. That is what I definitely need right now. I got my things and went into the shower. I did my normal routine and then I just sat there, letting the water spray on my back as I was thinking. These dreams are becoming more and more realistic. They don't feel like dreams at all. I wonder why these visions are attacking my mind now. It was ever since I came to this strange world. As soon as I landed here from that teleportation spell, the dreams hit just like that. Oz didn't want to acknowledge them, neither does anyone else. They all tell me it's just random dreams, but I feel like they aren't. I feel like, almost like, I shook my head. That's just silly. It is also not possible. Even for the supernatural world it would be deemed nonsense. A true fairy tale. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. I was thinking of Oz. He was always at the back of my mind, just lingering there. Oz is so complicated. He wants me here, but he doesn't care about me. I am just a part of his stupid plan to break the curse. I am just a pawn in his chess game. I sighed in disappointment. In a strange way, I think I have come to the conclusion that I might be slightly grieving. I feel like our mating pull is dwindling by the second. I don't like it, but I know that every time I talk about the mating pull, he takes 2 steps back. So the ball is in his court. He decides whether this mating thing is worth it, or if it's not. I don't have much control over the matter, which frustrates me greatly. I wish that wasn't the case though. Sometimes I would fantasize about us loving each other, that we would run into each other's arms at first sight. But that's all it was, a fantasy. I don't know what will happen to me when the curse is broken. I don't know what Ars will do with me. A part of thinks he might just kill me, abandon me, reject me. Maybe I should start preparing myself for such things. I can never know with Ars. He is a hellhound after all. That's enough thinking for my taste. I dried myself and slipped my nightgown on. I woke out of the shower when I heard my bed squeaking like someone was on it. Hello. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. Did you have a night shower? I heard Donnie ask. As a matter of fact, yes. I did have a wonderful shower. Did you need something? Donnie. I heard him jump off his bed and walk to me. He de-wrapped my shoulders and whispered, I have a brilliant beyond brilliant idea, Lil. I tilted my head. Brilliant. Then why do I feel like we might get in trouble? We won't get in trouble as long as we don't cut. So what is your idea? I hear my door open and from the scent, Ozai has come in. It was actually my idea. Our goal is to not have ours catch us. I arched my brow. Catch us doing what? Ozai chuckles. I'm sure you are sick of being in this prison. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. I am sick of being in this god-forsaken castle. Donnie just wants to be a sheep and follow so. Donnie cuts in. We had this idea that we sneak out for the night. What? I exclaimed in shock. To go where? To go out into the nightlife. Lil, you know. Dancing. Drinks. Loud music. You wanna come? Donnie asked excitedly. They were sneaking out to have fun. A part of me didn't want to disobey Oz. But then again, I guess what Oz doesn't know won't hurt him, right? Why, as Donnie said. I gulped. But I don't know what to do. Like what to wear. And I am also blind. Ozai grasps my shoulder. Don't worry, Lil. Just wear something slutty. And while we are in the club, I won't leave your side. I gasped. I am not going to wear something slutty. I'm not like that. Ozai chuckles. I was just joking. Anyways, we leave in 30 minutes. Both the boys left my room, leaving me to get ready. I sat at my dresser. I've done my own makeup long enough to know what is where. I opened the dresser for my makeup. I gave myself something subtle, but still pretty. I just did a slight bit of a smooth light brown color for my eyeshadow, as well as some liner and mascara. My lips were nude pink and I also put the tiniest bit of blush on to warm my fat. I remember my mother always teaching me how to do this as a little girl. I went to my closet to choose a dress. I have no idea what I was going to wear. I felt through the clothes and rubbed my fingertips on the material. That was how I knew what it was. I ended wearing my dress, which wasn't too low and wasn't too short, but it was a little small. I remember my mother buying me this dress. She told me it suited me. Hopefully she was right. I felt around for some heels. I ended up wearing one of my black strappy heels. I walked to the mirror, which I found was useless since I'm blind. I just put my hair into a slick and high ponytail along with some silver hoops. At least I think they're silver. A knock sounded at the door. "Who is it?" I called out. "Donnie, you can come in." I hear the door open, but there was just silence. "Donnie, are you okay?" To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. Your SS. So, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. You look hot as hell. That's what he was trying to say. I heard Ozai say as he enters confidently. I blushed and looked down. "Oh, thanks." I told Ozai and Ars that I was going on a run and won't be back for a couple of hours. I heard Ozai say. And I told them that I was feeling under the weather and decided to go to bed early. Donnie explained. "And what should I say?" "You've already had an argument with Ars. He'd expect you to stay in your room. So will I." I nodded my head. "Okay, so how are we gonna get out of here?" I ended up having to climb on Ozai's back to jump down the balcony. Once we successfully got out of the castle, we were on our way. "Do we have to teleport?" I asked Ozai. "No, we are in the supernatural world, which means there are supernatural clubs. You ever been?" I shook my head nervously. "Don't worry. You'll have fun and me or Donnie will always be by your side." They eased my nerves slightly. We walked for a bit until I could hear the bustling streets of this world. Music was everywhere. I heard laughter. The atmosphere in this place was amazing, and I loved it. I was holding Ozai and Dolly's arms when we entered the club. I was frowned in confusion. "Ozai, don't we have to wait in line, or pay or something to get in?" Ozai chuckles. "Oh, Iris, I am a hellhound. We are actually quite famous in the supernatural world. People know not to mess with us, so they give whatever we want, including not waiting in line for a club." We kept walking deeper into the club. Through the blur I could see flashes of lights everywhere of every color. Music was so loud I could feel my chest vibrating. And people were having fun. As Ozai leaned in. "I'll get us some drinks. Why don't you go and dance with Donnie?" Donnie grabbed my hand and pulled me to the dance floor. I didn't know what to do. I felt awkward. I'd never been in such a place before. Donnie laughs. "Relax, Iris. Just let loose. Just let the music flow through your body." I relaxed slightly and started to move to the beat of the music. I started feel the music dancing through my body. And I loved it. Ars. I was at my desk smoking my cigar while I drinking a small glass of Sadler's whiskey. I breathed in the smoke, expecting it to do its work on my nerves. But it does nothing to calm them. Iris has been playing on my mind. She was a constant. Though I dislike the fact she's my mate. I can't have her become defiant. It will ruin everything. I need to reconcile with her. I stood from my leather chair and stood at my window, taking another drag. I released the smoke as I released those thoughts in my mind. I looked at the time. She will most likely be asleep. She could never stay up late. I inhaled one last time before flicking my cigar out the window. I drank the rest of my whiskey and walked out. I made sure that she stayed down the hall from me. I wanted her close, though she may feel a different way. I walked down the hall from my quarters. My steps echoed into the roof and beyond. The lamps were lit, illuminating the room in a warm light. As I stood in front of her door, I leaned in and listened. It was very quiet in there. I opened the door slowly and I poked my head in. The bed was perfectly made and empty. Her scent was not fresh. She wasn't in her room. I walked to Ozai's room and banged on the door. It opened, revealing a tired Ozai. "Yes," he said sleepily. "Where is Iris?" I asked through my teeth. He frowns. "I don't know. She's in her room." "Isn't he?" I shook my head. "Then she's probably with Donnie." I stepped forward. Donnie was feeling sick and went to bed. Ozai is out on a run. Where is she? Ozai. I could see the concern on his face. He quickly went back into his room, then came out with a jacket on and shoes. We banged on Donnie's door. No answer. We pushed it open to see that it was empty. My worry and anger had spiked. They're gone. I growled through my teeth. Where the hell are they? I began to shout. Ozai, I sighed. Shit. My head would stain. What? Ozai's been complaining about being in the castle so long. Says he wants to go out and have fun for a night. My rage got the better of me. I roared in anger. I slammed Donnie's door so hard that it came of its hinges. I grabbed my coat and put on my combat boots. Let's go, Iris. I screamed in happiness as me, Donnie and Ozai were dancing to the music. We were all jumping and hyping each other up. Ozai gave me this sweet drink. It's gotten me on a good buzz. I liked it. This has been my first time ever at a club and drinking something. My parents were very protective of me because of my condition, but being out with Ozai and Donnie, feeling the music, hearing the people, it felt amazing. It felt like freedom. It almost felt like I could see in a strange way. I felt the familiar urge to go to the bathroom. I tugged on Ozai's arm. I need to go to the bathroom. He groans. You have the bladder of a chipmunk woman. Donnie, go take Iris to the bathroom and wait outside of the door. I felt Donnie take my hand and guide me through the crowd of bodies. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Do your business. I'll be waiting out here. Thank you. I squealed and kissed him on the cheek. I went into the bathroom. I was thankful to hear it was empty. I went into one of the stalls and did what I had to do. I softly felt around my face to make sure my makeup was still intact. After I washed my hands and dried them, I went out. I stood there, waiting for Donnie to take my arm or hand or something. But he never did. I reached my hands out and yelled. Donnie. He didn't answer. Oh no. How could he leave? Fear CPE through my heart. I was blind in unfamiliar territory. Anything could happen. I kept yelling out for Ozai or Donnie, but the music was loud. I didn't know if anyone could even hear me. I weaved my through the crowd, but I kept getting pushed and shoved. You look like you need help. Are you okay? Said a man's voice. I nodded my head. Yeah, I'm totally fine. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He said in shock. Your eyes are the bluest I've ever seen. That's insane. Your eyes are beautiful. I smiled politely. I'm blind, so that's probably why. Oh, I'm so sorry. I waved it off. It's totally fine. I don't really notice my blind as much. Well, I am right now considering I'm lost. Oh, do you need help? Yeah. I came here with a couple of friends, but I think we got separated in the crowd. The song Yance came on the speakers. This is one of my favorite dance songs. I tapped my foot to it as we spoke back and forth when I felt a strong presence enter the room. A very, very strong presence. It dominated the whole atmosphere. And I knew exactly who it was. I'm sure your friends will try find you, the guy said. Yeah, hopefully. I felt the guy put his hand over mine. I wasn't really thinking properly, so it didn't really bother me. So who'd you come here with? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I opened my mouth to answer, but it seems my words came too slow compared to the deep gravel voice that answered for me. She's here with me. See ours, said the man shakily. Fear riddled his body. You're with ours. The Hellhound. I opened my mouth to answer, but yet again, Oz answered for me. Yes, she is. Why are you talking to her? Gerald. Don't worry. Ours. I have a girlfriend. I was just making small talk. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I didn't ask if you have a girlfriend. Oz snarled. I asked why you were talking to Iris. The man shakily said, I just wanted to talk. Oz. That's all. Nothing more. Oz leans in and says, then fuck off. Gerald. I heard the man scurry off as quickly as he could. Oz, I watched the guy run off. As he should. Iris turns to me with a scowl. You shouldn't have been so mean. He wasn't doing anything wrong. I grabbed her arm tightly and pulled her against my chest. I growl. You don't know this world. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You don't know what these people are like. That nice guy you were talking to. His name is Gerald Huffer. He's a known predator. All the females come here with their men so then Gerald won't take them. I could see the shock in her eyes, and a slight bit of hurt. I could see that she genuinely thought he just wanted to talk, but now realizing that it was an act must be a shock. You shouldn't have snuck out. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. This world is not safe for someone like you. Someone like me. What? A blind girl, she said defensively. No, a mate of a hellhound. He says seriously. I have enemies. They'll do anything to have someone like you. She shook her head. I am of no importance to you. Eileen, like I said, you're my main ingredient to make my plan successful, which makes you important. Hurt flickered in her eyes. She pulls away from me. Why are you going to leave without me? I'm staying here to have fun. Then she goes into the crowd to dance. I growled in frustration. I took a seat, deciding to let her have fun for a little bit, but I made sure to watch her the whole time. Donnie came out of the crowd, searching the place, probably for Iris. His eyes widen when he sees me, and his skin paled significantly. Fear sparkled in his eyes, as they should. I shook my head at him, telling him that he's in big trouble. He went back into the crowd, probably to try and hide from me as long as he can. Chapter 9 Iris. See yours, said the man shakily. Fear riddles his body. You're with ours. The Hellhound. I opened my mouth to answer, but yet again, Oz answered for me. Yes, she's my mate. Why are you talking to my mate? Gerald. Don't worry. Oz. I have a girlfriend. I was just making small talk. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I didn't ask if you have a girlfriend. Oz snarled. I asked why you were talking to Iris. The man shakily said, I just wanted to talk. Oz. That's all. Nothing more. Oz leans in and says, then fuck off. Gerald. Before I kill you. I heard the man scurry off quickly, leaving me alone with the one person I wanted to get away from. Right now. Oz, I watched the guy run off. As he should. Iris turns to me with a scowl. You shouldn't have been so mean. He wasn't doing anything wrong. I grabbed her arm tightly and pulled her against my chest. I growl. You don't know this world. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You don't know what these people are like. That nice guy you were talking to. His name is Gerald Huffer. He's a known predator. All the females come here with their men so then Gerald won't kidnap them, rape them, kill them, anything. I could see the shock in her eyes, and a slight bit of hurt. I could see that she genuinely thought he just wanted to talk, but now realizing that it was an act must be a shock. You shouldn't have snuck out. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. This world is not safe for someone like you. Someone like me. What? A blind girl? She said defensively. No, a mate of a hellhound. I have enemies. They will do anything to have someone like you. She shook her head. I am of no importance to you. Eileen, like I said, you're my main ingredient to make my plan successful. Hurt flickered in her eyes. She pulls away from me. Why you going to leave without me? I'm staying here to have fun. Then she goes into the crowd to dance. I growled in frustration. I took a seat, deciding to let her have fun for a little bit, but I made sure to watch her the whole time. Donnie came out of the crowd, searching the place, probably for Iris. His eyes widen when he sees me, and his skin paled significantly. Fear sparkled in his eyes, as they should. I shook my head at him, telling him that he's in big trouble. He went back into the crowd, probably to get SOs in. I stayed back and lit my cigar as I watched all of these drunk wolves make fools of themselves. As I was sitting on the other side of the club, probably also watching Iris. I watched my mate dancing with a big smile on her face. The way she rolled her hips was doing things to me. I didn't know she could dance like that. Impure thoughts were running through my mind. I thought of all of our intimate times together, how we fitted so well. I sighed and cleared my head of such thoughts. I needed to focus on her safety. Iris was dancing to the music, wanting to get lost in it, but my mind was being drawn back to ours. His closeness was messing with my mind. Even though he was being a total dick, it felt good him defending me from Gerald. I pretended that it was because he cared for me, that he secretly wanted me as much as I wanted him. I knew he does not, but sometimes pretending makes the hurt a little easier to bear. I rolled my hips to the beat of the music when I felt hands grip them tightly. I was slammed against someone's front. My eyes widen in shock. And means in Anne whispers, "What is your name?" Blue eyes. I shook my head. "I'm sorry. I don't know you. I'm only here to dance. Nothing else." He laughs. "Of course you're here for dancing. As am I. Dance with me." Blue eyes. He holds my hips in a painful grip, making me move against him. I didn't like it. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. I felt dirty and violated with his hands on me like that. As if I was a whore. I shook my head. "I don't want to dance anymore." I pulled away from him, but he wouldn't let me. I said, "I don't want to dance. Let me go. I have a mate. He's not here, is he?" He laughs hard against my ear, but it was cut off when I felt him get pulled off of Mia's. I saw Donnie step out of the crowd and cautiously walked towards me with his head down. "Ours. I'm sorry. I know it was wrong and that you're insanely pissed, but I just wanted to say that. Whose idea was it?" I interrupted. "I don't have time for bullshit." Donnie gulped. "We all came up with it." I shook my head. Iris would never conjure up such an idea on her own. She would have been too scared. Someone presented the idea. So who was it? I could see the inner battle storming through his eyes, wanting to be loyal to me but also to the other. I growled in annoyance from him taking too long. It was SO's Ian. "If it were you, you would have already confessed. It wasn't Iris. It's SO's Ian. Case closed and now we are going home where I am going to beat the living shit out of the both of you." Donnie nodded defeated lie. I turned to the dance floor to try and find Iris, but what I see gets me into a pure rage. Iris was dancing with some guy. However, by the looks of it, she didn't want to dance. Panic was evident in her eyes as she was trying to pull away. I stood from my chair and I stormed through the crowd. I threw people and shoved them till I got to Iris. "He's not here, is he?" I heard him say to her. Iris was struggling against him. I growled and took him by the collar of his shirt. I threw him off Iris, which resulted in him on the ground groaning. When my mate says she doesn't want to dance, that means she doesn't want to fucking dance. I shouted at him. The guy opens his eyes to see my raging form. I knew by people's faces that my eyes were growing the famous green color. The guy's eyes widened suddenly. He stood up and ran away. I went to chase after him, until I felt a soft touch on my hand. Iris was standing there, holding on tightly as she said, "Please don't leave me. You, Ray right. I don't know this world. I don't know these kinds of people." I tried not to let her touch affect me, but I couldn't help but relax. I gently pulled her in and wrapped my arm around her waist. I looked at the crowd watching us and growled, "This club is closed. Everyone get out." Everyone rushed out of the place until it was left with me. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. As Ozai in Andani. I looked at Ozai and I saw the guilt in his eyes. I shook my head and said to him, "You should have known better." Ozai. He clenched his jaw and looked away. "Everybody go wait outside," I commanded. They all stood up and started to walk out the door. I saw I was walking away in her red dress. Her hair was in a high ponytail. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. "You stay." Without turning, she said, "Maybe it's best if I don't." "I don't care." To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. "Stay, Iris." I stood still and had everyone leave until it was just me and ours. "Turn around," he said commandingly. "I'm not a dog you can command all the time." To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He chuckles but without humor. "No, you are definitely no dog. You are my mate." To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You do as I say. He walks to me till he stands right in front of me. He did not do anything, or say anything. "I am very curious and rather surprised to know why you left tonight. I thought you'd be too scared to defy me. Are you not afraid of me?" To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I did not answer straight away as I was thinking. I am afraid of you. But, at the same time, I'm not. Do I need to remind you of why you should be scared of me? He said in a low voice. Now it was my turn to laugh without humor. I already know. I am afraid of Oz the Hellhound, Oz the Ripper, Oz the Conquering, Oz the Killer. I am afraid of you. Then how are you not afraid of me? At the same time, I may not be able to see, but I think I see more than you ever could. You are a monster. You are a beast. A demon of this world ours. I clenched my jaw to restrain myself as she was talking about me, about who I am. It was hard to listen, but it was true. I am a monster. A beast. A demon. I am the very being of wickedness and darkness. I have done unimaginable things to good people, to women, to children. I see their faces everywhere I go. I looked at Iris as she said, "That is what you are." To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You are all of these things, but you are also that boy who accidentally picked a rose. You were a child who made a mistake and now suffering for it. I was taken back by her words. They made me angry. They reminded me of who I used to be, the boy I used to be, but not anymore. She was giving false hope of who I am. I grabbed her arms and yanked her to me as I snarled, "That boy is dead." To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I murdered that boy. I am his replacement. I have done the most disgusting and unforgivable things. If you knew everything about me, you would be wise to run. She was shaking in my hands. She was trying to be brave as she lifted her blind eyes towards my face. She lifted a very shaky hand and placed it off my cheek and stroked it with her small thumb as she said, "But I'm not running, am I? I have not run because I believe." "Believe in what?" "No," I yelled at her. I pushed her off me. I felt like her words were peeling off my skin. I saw her stand there. Her eyes glistened with tears. "I have tried to hate you. I have tried to stay angry with you. But I can't because I keep remembering the day I saw you. You were going to kill my family when I begged you to not. And I knew as soon as you looked at me. You knew who I was, who I was going to be to you, and you spared them. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She cautiously walked to me and said, You put up this act of being the evil one, being the villain. She came closer and said, When in your heart, she places her hand on my chest, you desire to be good and pure, a devil who yearns for heaven. That is why I am also not afraid of you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I shook my head and said in a low tone, Is this the part where my walls crumble and you save my damned soul? Where I admit that you are my angel, that you are the one that helped me, that saved me, that tamed the hellhound inside of me? I said coldly. She gulps and looks down at her hands. I took a step forward. You don't know me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. So don't talk to me like you know what's in here, I said, tapping my temple. You don't know a damn thing. I grab her hand softly and lift it from my chest to drop it at her side. I shook my head. And at the end of the day, you should be afraid of me. There might be goodness inside of me, but my darkness outweighs that. There have been times where I am killing someone, a man or a woman, torturing them, and a part of me loves it. A part of me revels in it. I step back. I would be lying if I said I didn't like what you believe. And a part of me wishes I was that man, but it would do you well to look at reality. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You have created a version of me in your head. The version where you are the one that saves me, tames the beast. Where you are the only one that calms me. Where I become a good and honest man because of you. That's not real. None of it is. I am an ancient creature bound to a curse. This is who I am. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Stop fantasizing. You will only get hurt when you realize it's not real. I don't look at her as I walk past and out the door. Everyone was waiting for us. I walk straight to the car and get in, waiting for all of them to catch up. Iris climbed in and sat at the back with Ozai and Donnie. She shed no tears. She did not speak either. She sat there just looking out the window as I drove us back to the castle. Chapter 10. Iris. I could not form words. I just sat there in the car. Was what he said right? Was I fantasizing too much? Pretending too much to the point where the line between fantasy and reality have blurred to the extent where I cannot distinguish between the both? I did not know. Maybe I have. Maybe I have tried so hard to make excuses to care for him, to feel something for him. I have tried to justify his wrongs, which is something I cannot do. He is a hellhound, a ruthless animal, an untamable creature, an unsavable soul. I have been pretending this was my love story, but I have lost my grasp on the truth. The truth is, Oz of a hellhound and I are mates. However, he feels nothing towards me. I am but a part of his plan, an ingredient to his recipe, a piece to his puzzle, nothing more. And me, I do feel connected to him. I do, in some ways, care for him, but I see now that that is my burden to bear, and mine alone. I cannot expect Oz to care for me, and I cannot go on believing he ever will. He was right. At the end, I will only be hurting myself. The car suddenly jolted to a stop. I snapped out of my thoughts to hear Ozai was talking to Oz. Thanks, brother. We'll be quick. Except Oz climbed out of the car and ran on the other side of the road to a random shop of some kind, I assume. What are they doing? Oz sighed as he said, They are wanting to go buy something for Ian's birthday party. I nodded my head. Oh. I was sitting behind his driver's seat. It was just us two in the car, sitting in the uncomfortable silence that was too noisy to my ears. I climbed out of the car, walked to the other side and climbed back into the front seat. I sat there, waiting to figure out what to say. I fiddled with my fingers when I said, I'm sorry about sneaking out. I shouldn't have been so reckless. Yeah, You shouldn't have, he says in a hard tone. It won't happen again. He did not reply to me. He just sat there quietly, not acknowledging what I have said to him. I sighed as I leaned back in my chair. I did not look at her or talk to her. I couldn't. I didn't like listening to her talk like that. Her voice held. I could not afford to give in to it, or else I am risking everything. I am risking the achievement of my curse. I looked out the window to check on the boys. I could see them arguing with each other. A disagreement of preferences, I presume. I will give the boys instructions on protecting Iris. She can never be alone. Outside of her room. I will be gone for a long time. I am not going to risk her life for safety. Movement caught my attention. A guy turned at the corner and was facing us. I watched closely as he was staring at the car. I glanced at Iris to see she was oblivious. I kept watching him. He stood there panting and he didn't look happy. I looked closely and recognized him as the guy that danced with Iris. I growled in anger. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Iris said cautiously, "Eshe." I hushed her. Her breath hitched as I heard her heart beat quicken. She knew something wasn't right. I unclicked Iris's seatbelt without breaking eye contact with the guy. "Oz, what's going on?" She whispers. "Get in the back seat." "Wait. But I won't ask again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I said a little louder. She did as she was told. She quickly climbed at the back. The guy looked over his shoulder and seemed to be talking to someone. And then he starts pointing at us and shouting. Next thing I know, a whole bunch of guys walked from behind him. They were all holding guns. And I saw the man at the front smiling. Oh shit. It was Sabini. He didn't like me much considering that I killed his brother. My eyes widened when his men raised their weapons. In this situation I would have gotten out of the car and killed these bastards. It would be easy enough. But I wasn't by myself. I had to think of Iris. I got out of my seat, leapt in the back. "Get down." I heard the familiar click and in an instant. Bullets were raining hard on the car. I shielded Iris with my body as I heard her scream. I opened the back door. "Go," I shouted to Iris. She crawled out and crouched on the road. I followed her to protect her from the bullets. "Stay down low." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I shouted over the loud sounds of the bullets staring at my car. I closed my eyes and breathed hard. I felt the familiar pain and heat of shifting. My wolf was excited. We don't shift very often because when we do, someone always ends up dead. But considering the situation we were in, I would say it was an appropriate time to shift. My body changed completely into my wolf. Hellhound wolves were much bigger. We had big black fur that shimmered in the moonlight. But what was really different was that our fur also had streaks of green fire. We couldn't feel it, didn't burn us. It was a mark of a hellhound. I picked up Iris in my mouth. By gripping her clothes with my teeth, and I sprinted for the shop. Bullets were aimed at us. I burst through the doors to see my brother and Donnie. My brothers were already shifted into their wolves. I laid Iris down. I looked at Donnie. He nods at me. "I'll take care of her." "Good." My brothers and I then run out of the shop to unkill these bastards. "Iris, what's happening?" "Donnie." He took me in his arms. "It's all right. It's all right. Just some enemies of ours. The guy you danced with. I think he called some of his friends. I hear such violent noises. Growls and roars. Ripping and slashing of flesh. Screams of men begging for their lives. It was all so horrible. I tried to block my ears, but that did nothing. Donnie. Azisha. Bullets were piercing the shop, making me jerk in fright. I've never been more terrified in my life. I thought only the humans had bullets. I never thought such weapons would be found in the world of the supernatural. I have never been exposed to such violence before. My parents have made sure to keep me away from anything that could hurt me. especially because I am blind. I think they thought of me helpless. So hearing these dreadful noises were new to me. I never knew such noises could strike such terror into my heart. And it was all cost my hours. In a quick moment, everything was quiet. I could hear my heart thumping in my ears. I could hear my heavy breathing. It was deathly quiet. It was the quiet that scared me the most. Footsteps entered the shop. I whimpered. Donnie rubs my shoulders and stands up while pulling me along too. I stood on shaky legs. Donnie was mostly holding me up. The air was contaminated by a thick metallic essence. I felt my gag reflexes start to work. I covered my mouth and whimpered. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I heard my voice being called. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I smell B blood. R-U-H hurt. I hear him cough. It's not my blood. I could smell it. He was covered by the blood of his victims. I knew he was capable of horrible things. But experiencing it, hearing it has made it all the more real to me. We should go, Donnie says seriously. I nodded my head. I-N, Nita L, lay my head D down. All of a sudden an excruciating pain stabs into my mind. I raise my hands to my head as I yell in my pain. Then I felt my legs give way and everything went black. Donnie caught Iris before I could. She was out cold. Donnie looked down at her all armed. What just happened? He said in a panic. It's getting worse. Hurry. We need to get back to the castle. We all went out of the shop and rushed towards the car. But seeing that it was totaled, we had to run. I looked upon the gory sight I have created. At that moment I was glad Iris was blind, or else you would have been more terrified. Blood flooded the street, staining the ground. Bodies were everywhere. They were ripped to shreds. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Les heads, all scattered like confetti. They were unrecognizable. Some of them were probably good men. I knew some of them. One of them was the paper boy. He must have joined Sabini recently. Some of them looked like young, foolish teenagers. And I killed them all. It goes to show what I am. It only confirms what I am capable of. But what's worse was that as I looked at this gory sight, I felt nothing. No remorse. No regret. Nothing. I felt nothing. Chapter 11. It was 1723. The woman was getting ready. She made sure everyone in her household was fast asleep. She cannot get caught. She puts on her coat and climbs out of the window and down the rope she had tied. Once she lands on her feet, she grabs onto one of the oil lamps to help light her way. Her feet were bare as she made her way through the beautiful forest. She was always afraid coming, but knowing who she will meet always quieted her fear. Up ahead, she saw another lamp, hanging in a tree, a man standing there with his back faced towards her. She could not help but smile at the sight of him. Her heart fluttered, and her legs became weak. He hears her approach. He turns around and sees her. Took you long enough, he says Shikai-ly. She giggles as she runs towards him and leapt in his arms. He laughs as he caught her. She smashes her lips against his. She wraps her arms around his neck, and he himself tight and his hold around her. I feel as though I have not seen you in years. It's only been 3 days. Darling, she lays her forehead against his and whispers, that's 3 days too long. He puts her down on her and ushers her to sit down next to him. They laid there for what felt like hours, talking and laughing, the occasional kissing. She laid her head on his chest as they looked up at the stars. I love you. To my agent extraordinaire, Mythical Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He kisses her head and says, and I love you, my beautiful wife. So how is the house going? It is going well. My brothers and I have been building a little more faster. I just want to get it done. She nods her head silently. She snuggles closer to his chest inside. She closed her eyes, blocking out all of the negativity, but it never seems to work no matter how tight her eye are shut. What's going on in that head of yours? Darling. She sat up and turned around to sit facing him. We have been married in secret for a year, she stated. Oz nods his head. I know. But he smiles. And what a wonderful year it's been. She smiles, but it quickly fades. It has been wonderful, but I can't help but wonder, is it always going to be like this? A secret? Oz's expression falls slightly. He leans against the tree and rubs his face as he releases a big breath. You know the answer, my darling. It won't be like this forever. But until I sort some things out, no one can know about us. She nods her head sadly. I know. It's just... Her eyes started to glisten a bit. I feel as if you're keeping things from me. Secrets. You are not like other men. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You are different. Oz tensed at her words. I am but a man. My darling. She shook her head. No, you're not. Your presence is not like other men. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Different. You have this sort of ancient atmosphere around you, and I do not understand it. I see other men. They nod at you as if they are bowing to you. Look, my darling, I am. No, she cuts in. And even when we first met, it was something I have never felt before. It was an intense connection, a connection I somehow feel familiar towards. How can that be? Oz smirks. I guess our love is just that passionate. She rolls her eyes. No, Oz. This is no time for joking. You are hiding something. I want to know what it is, or else this marriage may not go on for much longer. I will not base our relationship on lies and secrets. Oz looked away from her face. He clenched his jaw in frustration. You are wrong. I am a normal man. She stands up and shouts. Stop lying to me. You and your brothers are different. You all have secrets. Why can I not know? Oz growls. You will never know. Her eyes widen. So you are hiding something. Oz's a held defeat. You can never know. He says softly. She sits back down and takes a hold of his hands. But Oz, my darling, I am your wife and you are my husband. We cannot keep secrets from each other. I am sorry, but if I told you, it will risk your life. And I will not have it. She stood up on shaky legs. She gulps as she looks down at her one love. I love you, Oz, with all my heart. But I cannot. I will not live this life. I cannot do it. Oz just sits there, staring at me sadly. Are you leaving me, my darling? She nods silently as tears fell from her eyes. He gulps and closes his eyes. Please don't do this. We can work through this. The only way to work through is by telling the truth. Oz had an inner battle warring inside of him. He stood up and looked down at his beautiful wife. You do deserve the truth, my love, and I will give it to you. But not now. I have to ensure your safety. She looks down disappointed and shook her head. I'm sorry. Oz, I cannot do this. I can't. Then let me make it easier for you. He cuts in. I will leave the village. I won't be back for a long while. But when I do, you will know the truth. He stands up and says softly, Goodbye, my love. Live a good life. He leans in and kisses her forehead. Then he vanishes into the darkness. I open my eyes, but instantly close them. I raised my hands and rubbed them a little bit before attempting to open them again. I smelt the room. It was my room. Back at the castle. I slowly sat up, but the slight ache at the back of my head caused me to wince. I felt a presence in the room. Several, actually. Hello. I called out. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Johnny said. Us. Me, Esso's Ian and Ozai. I was disappointed that ours had not come, but I also shouldn't be surprised. What happened? You fainted? Ozai answered. You have been doing that a lot lately. Yeah, I don't know why. We sat there in silence. I guess no one knew how to handle me in such a state, especially after the event that had taken place. Is Oz still angry at me? I asked. No. He isn't, answered Ozai. I felt my hopes lift a little. Well, that's good. Maybe he will give me a chance to him. Donnie cleared his throat. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Gone. What do you mean gone? Gone where? He's got to sort a few things out. Ozai said. Well, when will he be back? He said a month. But you never know with ours. Could be shorter, could be longer. He's gone. He left me while I had fainted. Didn't even think to see if I was okay or not. I guess those are his true colors. I was hurt that he had left without a word. You'd think that even though you didn't like your mate, you'd have enough respect and decency to say good bye. I guess he really doesn't care too much about what happens to me. I took a deep breath and put a smile on my face. That's okay. I'm sure whatever he's doing is important. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Are you? I'm fine, Donnie. Ours has made things pretty clear between us. And now he's gone. Maybe it's a good thing. I can finally have some peace in this castle. I fiddled with my hands as I said, I would like to be alone now. Please. I heard them all stand up and shuffle around and head out the door. If you need anything, just call for one of us and we'll come right away. Donnie informed me. I grinned. Thank you, Donnie. As soon as I heard the click of the door shutting, my grin dropped. Even though he did not care much for me, I still felt a sense of loss. I knew that going a month or possibly more without ours was going to be a struggle. A struggle I didn't know how to handle. I think I just have to remind myself of the reality. He does not want me in that way and I need to accept that, or else I may get more hurt. But maybe we could be civil with each other. We could be friends. I shook my head. It could be a possibility, but for now I will leave the idea alone. I won't see him for a while. So as long as I won't see him, I won't think about him. Out of sight, out of mind. It's the only way I can protect myself.